Joe from the GRID Network here, reporting the big news that the Canadian Grand Prix for Formula 1 has been cancelled for 2021, and the date will instead go to Istanbul Park in Turkey, so the Turkish Grand Prix will return for a second year in a row. Of course, the pandemic, travel restrictions in Canada prevented organizers from agreeing on a plan to hold the Canadian Grand Prix. It is a very tough break. Of course, we all know the Canadian Grand Prix for the longest time has been hosting Formula 1 races, and for the longest time was the only Formula 1 Grand Prix race in North America. Of course, Mexico, United States rejoined recently with Circuits of America and the Mexico City circuit. So now we have 3 races in North America. And one of the big things without the Canadian Grand Prix, starting to raise some questions. Will we see the United States Grand Prix in Circuits of America? Will the Mexican Grand Prix continue as planned in Mexico City? Upcoming in Mexico, we're going to have Formula E there, where they're going to be racing in Puebla outside of Mexico City circuit. One of the big reasons is because of the travel restrictions of the pandemic. In the United States, Texas has been one of the states moving forward and opening up. Texas Motor Speedway, of course, they host NASCAR. This weekend they're hosting IndyCar for 2 race weekends. So very likely the chances of the United States Grand Prix taking place in Austin, Texas, especially much later on, we're talking fall 2021, shouldn't be an issue. Now, the future of the Canadian Grand Prix is pretty much safe. They have a long contract up until 2029. It's our understanding with this cancellation, the race will extend to 2030. So overall, not too big of a concern. One of the big things, of course, when you have 3 races and considering the locations, Montreal, Canada, South Texas, then Mexico, and then starting in 2022, another race in Miami. So be sure to comment if you are attending a Formula 1 race in North America. Which race are you most likely to attend? The Canadian Grand Prix? The United States Grand Prix in Texas? The Mexico City, Mexico Grand Prix? Or the new Grand Prix in Miami? Love to see where everyone responds, where people are leaning towards, and go from there. Now here's Matt with a GRID World Motorsport League update.
Hi everybody, it's Matt White here from the GRID World Motorsport League. Time to give you another update on the GRID World Motorsport League with our Week 10 Top 10. We have a brand new entry. Sebastian Ogier from World Rally Championship slots himself into 4th position after a final stage defeat of his teammate Elvin Evans in Rally Croatia at the weekend. A dramatic finish to the World Rally Championship's 3rd round. Seb getting his 2nd win from 3 this season. So he slides into 4th position in the overall standings, which pushes Manuel Maldonado, our former leader, out of the top 10. So one change there in the top 10. We've got big changes expected this week, with Formula 1 becoming eligible for their 3rd race in Portugal. We've also got an MotoGP race this weekend with the Spanish Grand Prix at Jerez, so Fabio Quartararo in 2nd position back in action. And IndyCar becomes eligible this week with their 3rd and 4th rounds in Texas. Colton Herta, though, is already in the standings because he's had some races in IMSA and he had his big win at St. Petersburg on the weekend. So he is 47th in the standings as we sit this week after 10 weeks of scoring. The other big winners on the weekend at Talladega, Jeb Burton got the victory in the Xfinity Series race. He is 84th in the point standings, and Brad Keselowski, the winner in the Cup race on Sunday, another Brad Keselowski Talladega victory. That puts him 122nd in the standing. The top 100 actually still quite populated with guys from the Asian Le Mans Series who've not yet featured in sports car races throughout the world, but World Endurance Championship is in action this week at Spa. There's a Saturday race, don't forget, so the 1st round of the WEC. We also had Formula E at Valencia last week. That crazy race on Saturday won by Nick De Vries. He is 67th in the overall standing, and Jake Dennis is 175th. His first win in the championship for BMW on Sunday. Thank you to everybody that voted in our Performer of the Weekend poll. There was a couple of outstanding performances over the weekend, and Adrian Formeau in his World Rally Championship debut got 5th position for the M Sport 4 team, and he has won the Performer of the Weekend award, and it's been announced this week that he'll be back in that car for round 2. in Portugal in a couple of weeks' time. His first event on gravel in that car, of course, so you can see how he goes there. And Sebastian Ogier, of course, for that matter, and the rest of them. A big weekend coming then with Formula 1, MotoGP, double IndyCar, more NASCAR as well. So expect some further changes in the Grid World Motorsport League standing next week.